Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pit Talk, pulling pits and opinions with your host, Gunny G, where service members help service members, period, past or present. Follow, like, subscribe everywhere you get your podcasts and on all social media platforms. Let me know how I'm doing. Any criticism is good criticism, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a special guest, return offender, by the name of Caden Shanks. Say hello.
What's going on? What's going on? How you guys doing?
Hey, man, it's my pleasure, honor, pleasure to have you back on the show. Obviously, you found some pleasure in talking with Gunny G, but I hope it's more than that, long-lasting connection. And again, I appreciate you coming back on, man.
Yeah, of course, I appreciate it.
For the listeners that just are barely getting to know you, man, a quick background, basic info, where you're from, married, billets, capacities, why you got out, all that good stuff.
Sweet. So yeah, my name's Caden Shanks. I'm originally from Texas. Growing up, single mom, 3 kids. Joined the Marine Corps when I was 17. I was in Hawaii, Japan. Finished off my time in the Marine Corps in Utah. I finished off as an S4 chief for a recruiting station out there. I knew I wanted to get out from my very first enlistment. However, my first enlistment, when it came to an end, I just never set myself up financially or learned any skills or anything like that to actually be able to get out. And so I re-enlisted solely for the purpose of being able to network. I went somewhere where there was no base, so I could get the BH, buy a home, be able to network with civilians. And so, my second enlistment, I really just focused on personal development, learning skills, and setting myself up to be able to transition out.
How did you get Utah, by the way?
So I was actually in Hawaii, and one of my recruiters from when I enlisted, so when I was at MEPS, he had just checked in. He actually called me when I was in Hawaii. He was like, "Hey, we have a spot in Salt Lake City. Do you want to come?" I was like, "No." I've never heard of anybody who's wanting to move to Utah. I didn't even know where it was on a map, so I told him no. And then I was just trying to leave Hawaii as fast as possible, so I pulled a hot fill, and Salt Lake City and Denver were on there. And this girl I worked with, she really did not want to go to Salt Lake City. She wanted to go to Denver. So I was like, cool, I'll take Salt Lake City. I already knew my boss because he was one of the recruiters when I was in the dep, and so I was like, I already know my boss. I'll take it. So that's how I got there.
And then you transitioned out of there, huh?
Correct.
Hey, I like the little backdrop. You're moving on up there, Kay. You know what I'm saying? What you doing? Big things or what? How much does that cost? What, $2,000? What is that? What is that?
It's really not that expensive. It's like a couple hundred.
Couple $100. You want me to spend a couple $100 on my backdrop? Stop playing. I'll just put my pictures up.
I do meetings on Zoom all day, every day. So, having to looking presentable is always important because I'm sitting down with people that, are investing out to 7 figures. And so they got to be able to trust it.
Yeah, for sure, man. You got to look. First impression is the last impression. For the listeners that don't know you, we had you on financials, freaking financial stability with Caden Shanks a couple months back, and you're coming back on. Are you still doing the same job?
I am the exact same thing. I'll never switch. I'll never change. This is what I found my passion in. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years now, and it's what I'll do until I hit the grave.
Boy. So let me ask you this. I'll ask you this. Meat and potatoes. We'll get into meat and potatoes here shortly. Who got you into the show, into the biz?
So one of my mentors, he was a staff sergeant at the time, Sean Young. We connected through social media, and I was just like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I saw the vacations, I saw the trips, I saw he was still active duty, and he was like, "Yeah, let's hop on a Zoom call," and I did, and I was like, "Hey, worst case scenario, I get licensed in the industry, but I learned the information because I knew nothing about money. Growing up, same thing. We never talk about money. Money is the root of all evil. It makes you a bad person. So I was always scared of, to even learn about it. I had no clue how it worked. And so I was like, worst case scenario, I learned about it. And little did I know how much it was actually going to pay off. So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. And I've seen, I think Sean Young talked to, what's his name? Yeah, I've seen him. And then, he's in my Rolodex. I forget.
Ramos?
But yeah, you guys, huh?
Ramos?
Nah, don't even worry about it. But you guys are all kind of intertwined. Tell me, why it's so lucrative, and tell me why people should flock to what you're doing.
You can You can literally just ask Siri or Google what the highest paying industry in the world is. It's going to tell you the financial service industry. Just because we provide the most value to the market, and every single person that I sit down with, we're able to provide them with some type of value. We're able to help them in some sort of way. And every single family that I've sat down with, to this day, I've never sat down with a single family that was actually on track to retire, actually on track to hit their goals. And so, being able to actually go out there, give that education. Most service members that I sit down with have no clue about the TSP. I know I didn't when I was in. They have no clue what that percentages actually mean. Where does the match go? When do they actually start matching you? Little things like that. So being able to actually go out there and provide the education, because most people that work on base, they're contracted to the government, and so they have a certain thing that they have to stick to. We're not. We're independent. We're self-employed, and so I can genuinely go out there and tell them the facts, show them the actual proof, and give them some real education.
Caden, if you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 23.
23. So for those that are skeptical about what you're saying, I know some old heads that are old. They say, well, what does a 23 know about financial stability and financial investment? He's only 23. He hasn't really hit the ground running yet.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing is most of the people that I help, the average age is like 40, 50, and they don't even know. And so everything I say,
Uh,
when I sit down with clients, when I sit down with people, I literally show them as I'm like walking them through it. Every time I tell somebody something, I'll show them the proof. I fact check everything I just say. And the reality is, like, if they're actually humble, they're always willing to receive no matter the age. So, even if somebody does have that mindset, that's on them. That's up to them. That's their problem.
it's obviously the proof is in the pudding. Yeah. Tell me. I love the idea of having your own brand. You talk about branding and who you are and what you're about. I seen a video the other day about when you were working out, getting it grinding and getting it in, and it had a C and an S and a crown on it. I like that. Tell me about it. Hey, there it is.
So I'm really big on building your last name, and one of the reasons too is because growing up, like, I was the only one in my immediate family with my last name. I didn't have any full siblings, so none of us shared the same last names. Everyone had one last name except for me, and so growing up, it didn't really mean anything because the person that gave me my last name, there wasn't a lot of credibility there, and once I became a Marine, right, and it's you wear your last name, like, you don't discredit your last name, you don't discredit the Marine Corps. That's when it kind of started. And then really one of the people that helped influence that was Andy Elliott. I always saw him building his own name, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. And so then once I started focusing on personal branding, a lot of people like to flex the Louis Vuitton, the Gucci, like all these different brands. I'm like, I don't even know that guy, right? Like, my biggest thing is getting my name out there, because I want to become the brand. A lot of people focus on whatever company they work with. It's like a lot of people, they're scared to get out of the Marines because the Marine is their identity, or like the rank is their identity. Well, I wanted my name to be the identity, because no matter where I went, no matter what company I worked for, no matter what industry I was in, that last name was always relevant. And so that's when I started, pretty much repping my last name as much as possible.
Dog, I love it. You got me into it, but IG doesn't really. That's Instagram, it doesn't really make sense.
Yes.
So I got to do something else. You know what I'm saying? But so I got to figure out my little initials with the crown. I'll get there eventually. I'll get there where you're at. But that's dope, man. Whenever I can provide for small business, I don't know if you're a small business, to be honest. At this point, you make more money than I do. But anywhere I can give back to the community in terms of service members, helping service members, let me know. I'll rock that CS. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've never like sold any just because it's me, it's my name. Because there's stuff on the back, dude. Like, on the back is our core values, which is faith, family, fitness, finance, fun, which is amazing because people always see that and be like, hey, what does that mean? Like, where are you getting that from? It's like, oh, that's like our core values. Like, that's my main core values. And then I just ordered some more that actually coming next week. Same logo on the front, but my last name on the back, and then under it, faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. And so, I'm really
Well,
big. I just recommend getting your own that says, your own last name.
well, I mean, if you're branding, I want to support. So let me know. Don't give me the one that says Shanks on it. Just give me the one that says Family Fun. I mean, I'm sure we're the same size, extra large. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. So send it my way. Hey, tell me your Cash App, Venmo. I'll buy it. I'm not afraid to rock it. Free marketing for you. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I appreciate
Hey,
it.
I'll be like, hey, what's that mean? That's my boy Caden. Hit him up.
I also have I have sweats. I have like my own hoodies, my own gym apparel, like my own coffee mugs, water bottles. I was just really big. And then in our industry too, like you have like team merch because people love representing whatever team you're on or the company or whatever. And so I was like, I'm just gonna get my own. Like that way, I'm not repping somebody else. And so it's been great. I love it.
Man, tell me about transition. How rough was it? Was there anything? What's the pro? Or excuse me, let's start off with the con. There's always cons to transition, man. How was it?
So I think one of the only big cons is like I didn't work on a base. And so, the nearest base to us was about an hour away, which is an Air Force base. So that's who I had to transition through. So anytime you needed something, you had to drive an hour away. Nobody in my unit really gets out. Like nobody knew what to do. I wanted to go on Skill Bridge. I spent about a year just trying to figure out how to go on Skill Bridge because the Air Force doesn't let you like us do it through the Air Force. So I had to find like the closest Marine base was 10 hours away. So I had to like go through all these resources, try to find it. And then as soon as I finally found it, I got the package ready. They were like, "Yeah, we're denying it." So I couldn't even
Yeah.
go. So I think really like the biggest I guess struggle when I was transitioning was we lost our gunny because he retired, and so it went from a gunny and a sergeant to just a sergeant running it by myself. And obviously, I'm trying to focus on getting out. I'm trying to focus on my business. I'm trying to focus on my VA appointments, like getting everything done while still running a whole recruiting station, the S4 logistics by myself. Trying to juggle both was a little bit difficult while still trying to move because we were moving states. And then also selling my house. It was definitely a lot, but I knew that it was worth it. I was so excited.
Yeah, and now that you're out, man, what's the biggest pro?
Freedom, like honestly, like being able to, especially because like I don't work for another man, so like we can generally do whatever we want. So like I can go work out whenever I want. I get to the office whenever I want. We just went to Cabo last week. Took my whole family to Cabo. Didn't have to ask another grown man for permission. Did meetings in Cabo. So like no matter where we go, I can always do meetings. Like I just don't have to ask anybody, to do anything. No, my wife doesn't work. I made sure she never had to answer to another grown man again. And so just being able to actually have that like freedom of time and pretty much do whatever I want.
That's freedom of movement is good. I'll tell you what. Eventually, I'll be there, but right now my brand is United States Marine Corps for at least another 6 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and I don't ever think it's bad for people to stay in as long as they love it. As long as they
Absolutely.
generally love what they do. There's just too many people that only re-enlist because they're scared to get out, and I see it all the time. And they're just scared to get out because everyone always tells them like, "Oh, it's so hard to get a job. It's so hard to make money to get out. You're gonna have to pay for insurance now." Like so many different things, and so people get scared. And then what do? So they re-enlist for their second enlistment. Second enlistment, they get histed. They're scared about the R3 Oscars, so then they go into SCA. By that time, they're already 10 years in. They're like, "Oh, I'm already halfway here." And
Yeah.
just continue, but they don't genuinely like actually love the Marine Corps, love the Marines, love what they do. And so it just becomes like a repeated process. But for those that actually genuinely love the Marine Corps, they love their job, they love the Marines, those are the ones that I do recommend because they're the ones that can make the change.
Okay, dog. What, you recruiting or what? Yeah, you're doing a pretty good job.
Absolutely
Pretty
not.
good job. I tell you what, culture is dictated by the people, man. And sometimes the people that, just like you mentioned earlier, is just like, hey, look, if you're just here for the job, man, just get out. There's plenty of jobs out in the civilian sector that you make just as much, if not even more. I don't know
Exactly.
who's telling you this information, but it's out there. Money's out there, and it does grow on trees for some odd reason. And it's being printed left and right. You know what I'm saying? Even if you look at it now, it's being printed just because it's just being printed. So don't be scared of that point. And I'll tell you what, this is your time, man. This is your platform to be like, hey, this is where you need to be at. Hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously it's working for you, so it's working. And tell me, what's the one thing that the Marine Corps provided you that you're taking into the new job and to the job that you're in now?
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely provided me a lot. I'd say one of the biggest things is like structure, a good work ethic. Like a lot of people, they need their 10 hours of sleep. I'm kind of used to not, running off a couple hours. There's been a couple of times where I only get like 2 hours sleep and I'm on duty. Like that's what I just think about. I'm like I gotta sleep fast, sleep good, sleep hard. But that structure is definitely important. I still wake up at 5 a.m. every day, just like I did while I was still in. The only difference is just working a little bit more now. It definitely provided me a lot. As far as like the discipline, the being able to handle a lot of tasks, a lot of different things at once. That now this is just kind of like a breeze. Like this is nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, how does that correlate to like competition? For the Marines, is everything's a competition for the most part. We're always competing against each other, always trying to be the best, always doing this, always doing that, even if it's just in fun. How does that correlate to where you're at now?
We're super competitive. I've never met so most of our team, like 95% is pretty much military. Every single person in our office in here is military. And so like we compete, but we compete, on a whole nother level. We actually have a competition right now. Whoever has the most cash flow in July, the bottom two that make the least amount of money have to pay dinner for everybody else. And the place we're going, like a tomahawk's like 1,500, 1,000 bucks. So if you suck at making money, now you have to pay for it. And so like we compete just on a whole new level. Like it's even more competitive, now than I've ever seen.
Are you in the bottom two?
I'm the top one right now.
Shut the frick up, Caden. Don't play. You stop playing.
I'll show you the numbers. I'm
Nah,
I'm super competitive. You can ask anyone I will.
oh,
Like
I bet, man.
don't care about sleep. My family's good. I'll compete.
Hey, confidence is spewing. I like it, man. It's overflowing that cup. And at 23, dog, I don't know. You're freaking strutting your stuff, huh?
Proof is in the pudding. It's good, because we compete with the right people, and so we're compete like when I was in the Marine Corps, we used to compete on like who could drink the most, who can take more shots tonight, who can last longer, and now we're like, all right, who can make more money, who can go help more families, who's gonna retire their mom first, like whatever the case is, like we compete, just on a whole new level. So like the competition here is super high, but it's super healthy.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, man. It's good. I'll tell you what. What's one thing you could have done better? Transition now, but pros and cons. Everybody across the spectrum, all services alike, deal with some of the same issues. Getting out, getting in, and transitioning out from uniform to civilian. What's one thing you could have done better, and take that and provide it to the service members listening?
Yeah, so that one's a little bit like I don't really know how to answer that, and the reason is because I don't know what normal is. Like because nobody around me got out. Everyone stayed in. And so I didn't have like that example. Like we didn't have, a base where we could just have somebody at our fingertips. So, it's a little bit different because I didn't have the resources or the support that like most people have. And so like I generally did the best that I could, especially, for my family moving across, a couple states over. And so I mean, I guess the biggest thing, is really just saving more money. That's what I tell people all the time, because that's their biggest worry. And, Marines spend a lot of money on dumb stuff, so really saving that money so that you have that cushion, especially, when getting out, like there's a lot of expenses now when you get out, which it's not necessarily a scary thing as long as you set yourself up properly. So really just I guess just making sure you're financially good, because as long as you're financially good, everything else is taken care of.
Yeah, finances are a big one, man. Big catalyst for divorce, big
Yep.
catalyst for a lot of things. Financial stability, man. We're back to the same topic I had you on in the first place.
Yeah.
Financial stability, giving that tool for the toolbox for young and old heads alike. What are you doing differently that we're not?
I mean, kind of like I said the first time, like really, really just self-education. Like I spent a lot of time studying things, studying the TSP, I study the 401k, I study the Roth, I study the IRAs, I study the tax codes, I study, insurance policies, annuities. I study pretty much everything out there. Not only that, I've studied our competitive companies, the ones who offer maybe similar things, different things. How do they talk to their clients? What are some of the bad things their clients have to say? What are the good things? Like I study literally everybody, to figure out what works. I didn't know a lot of things about the TSP until some dude randomly told me. I just went and did a quick Google search. And I was like, oh, that was true. Like I would have never known, and nobody that I knew those that information. So really, just looking things up, figuring out what's working for other people, and then running with it.
You bring up a good point. Looking things up, reading it, freedom of movement to collectively, collect the information and create your own opinion about it, and then take a 30-inch step whether or not you want to do it or not. So that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people a lot of people just do this, scroll, and
Yeah.
hopefully they find a video that tells them what to do instead of, reading, which retains a lot more. I think for me, reading the information so that it's fresh in your mind, and then you know exactly how to look it up, where to look it up. Man, I'll tell you what, that creates, knowledge is power.
If you look out there, like half articles like hate Apple, half of them hate Androids. Like which one do I go with? Half people hate the blue side, love some hate the red side. Which one do I like? Every professional has some trainers love keto, some hate keto, some love the carnivore, some hate the carnivore. It's kind of hard to get that true information, but sometimes you just have to read everything and be like, well, what do I feel about this? Like, what does my gut tell me? And then just try it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, just try something else. Like,
Hell yeah. I'm the expert of my life, right? Not everybody else. All these experts got us here. Inflation. 2020, COVID, right? All the experts got us here. Masks work, masks don't work, mask this, mask that, 6 feet this, 6 feet, whatever. All the experts told us, and then all of a sudden, they retracted their previous statements. I apologize for the inconvenience. That's what they said, right?
Okay.
This is the experts. You know what? Fine. You know what? I'm going to be the expert. Caden's going to be the expert. I'm going to read. I'm going to get the knowledge, and then I'm going to create my own opinion, and then make sure my family's taken care of, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, just make the information, make the decision, be okay with the decision. As long as it's something you can live with, like, do it. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out, and then you just try something else. Like most people are just
that simple.
Most people are scared to be wrong, or they're scared to try something and then it didn't work out. And they're like, well, I just wasted X amount of years. Like, so many people are just too scared to be wrong at times, and it's completely okay to just drop the ego. Be like, there's only one way to find out if this works, and it's by me doing it. And now I know if it works or not. Like,
hell yeah, dog.
Not difficult.
Hell yeah. Where are you at right now?
San Diego, California.
Are you in a meeting or something, a conference or something?
No, I live here now.
Oh, you live in Cali? Oh, okay, you live in Cali? Okay. Where at? San Diego, you said?
Yeah, so I'm in like the San Marcos Vista area.
Nice.
Pretty
How's
nice.
the family with the transition and all that?
It's good. They love it. We're a big community here. So we're traveling. We're traveling together. All of our families, like, we all go to church together. We work together. We go to the park together. We go to the pool together. Like, we pretty much do everything together. So even though my amazing wife like left her family behind, we have a new family here, which is amazing, and it's been nothing but support. So it's been absolutely amazing.
Caden, it sounds like a cult. Stop playing. You freaking creeping me out.
I'll join it if it's working.
That's true, man. Dog, tell me, are you guys based out of San Diego or something, or what?
I mean, we're all over the U.S. My mentors were just in San Diego because that's where like a lot of the $1 million earners are. So we wanted to be super close to them. Just be a 20-minute drive. That way we could, if we have questions, we can ask questions. We can get more mentorship than normal. Plus, like I said, we're all over the world. So like we have people in Texas, Vegas, Florida, everywhere. We're a remote job, but we just like the community and we like the people. And so that's just why, like, I've just moved out here for the people. Like that was literally it, just for the community, for the mentorship. And so it's just a lot easier because we have a lot more high value people here.
I see you're a girl dad, huh? Over everything. What's up?
So I have a 5-year-old, and then we have one on the way, due here in October, another girl, and so I'm excited about that.
So girls, huh? Sounds like you're gonna be spitting out girls from now on.
Yeah, I'm gonna be outnumbered. That's why I had no choice but to make money when it's a bunch of girls. Like my 5-year-old already was like, we've literally our first week here, she knew how to get from our house to Target. Like all she has to go every Starbucks and Target. Like she knows exactly how to get there. and so I have no choice.
You're
But
creating a monster.
Armand did not me. I hate talking.
That's true. That's true. Hey, but sometimes you gotta walk the walk, walk the cart, and just act like you like it, huh?
I mean, luckily I don't go. I don't step foot in there. I just give her the money and say, go have fun, you know?
Hey, I like it. I like it. Hey, man, look, let me tell you. You talk about faith. How's that improved, and how does that? How was your faith in and now out? Is it different or the same?
It's a lot stronger now. Like while I was in like my first duty station, I didn't really care about it. And then business is actually what brought me back to my faith. I came out here for a retreat about a year ago, and my mentor, I just noticed everybody was talking about God. And I was like, well, they're doing something right. Like all these people, like they're making good money, they have great families. And I was like, well, they're doing something right. And I was in my faith growing up, but once I joined the Marine Corps, it kind of went away because if we're being real, no E3 in the Marine Corps is like, hey, let's all go to church together on Sunday. Like most of the time, you're all hungover. Nobody went to church that I knew of in Hawaii, and so I just kind of veered off from it. And then, like I said, I came out here, and then every Tuesday out here they do men's prayer at 5:30 in the morning, and so my mentor took me there. I saw a lot of people think like Christian men are soft men, they're pansies, they're weak, and I literally just saw a bunch of men be men, and actually strong in their faith and praying over their marriages, their family, their pastors, their businesses, everything like that. And so I ended up, kind of coming back to my faith a little bit. Went back to Utah. We actually helped start a church, and now it's stronger more than ever. We just went to a men's church retreat for 3 days. It was about 3,000 men, literally just praying over their marriages, their breakthroughs that they needed, some things that they were struggling with, that they didn't want to struggle with anymore, whatever the case was. And so now, we're stronger than ever. That one thing I love about, our community here is, all the people that I work with out here, like we're always praying for each other. We're always, at men's prayer every single Tuesday morning, praying over the city, praying over our families, our kids, our business partners. We go to church together every single Sunday. Whatever the case is, like that's a really big part of who we are here in our company.
That's good, man. I'll tell you what, faith is a big deal, and no matter what. I mean, in or out. And I think that for some odd reason, people lose sight of it when you're in the uniform because they want to be a good Marine, and sometimes being a good Marine pushes your faith aside, and it shouldn't be that way, man. It should always be. And honor, courage, commitment doesn't compete with Christianity or any religion that you think of. It doesn't really compete. It just kind of co-aligns. Those values, anyways, kind of co-align. So when service members lose sight of it, it's shame on them as an individual. And I'm not throwing shade at you. I just, in general, like even it goes for me, right? Sometimes my first couple of duty stations, I wanted to be a great Marine, and I lost sight of my faith and I lost sight of God. And now I'm back aligned. It sounds like you're back aligned, co-aligned with your faith, and you got iron sharpens iron. You got accountability everywhere. Well, that's great. And, that's awesome. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. And it's sad to hear that you didn't have it in. Go ahead.
Yeah. I saw this video of this Marine who got pinned to gun or to first arm, and literally like the whole platoon was just like praying over his leadership. Now I was like, that's something you never see in any unit.
Dang.
I've never seen it before. I think it's on Variable's Instagram right now. But like I remember seeing that, and I was like, imagine if like everybody did that. For every single promotion, whether it was PFC, just Sergeant Major, whatever the case was. Like imagine how much different the Marine Corps would be. But instead, like people, whether people want to admit it or not, like if you are in your faith, you probably get made fun of. So if somebody's putting something on the TV and you're like, hey, let's not watch that, like it doesn't align with God, they're gonna make fun of you. Especially like I was in Salt Lake City, which is Mormon, Mormon capital, and you saw it all the time. If someone who was Mormon, they would always joke about him, whatever the case was. And so it's not really cool to be in your faith, in uniform. But imagine if like everybody did what that video did, where every single promotion, every single award, whatever the case was, the whole platoon just prayed over him. It'd be a whole
That's
different.
crazy. Alex, send me that video. I never seen that before. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Just imagine that, you talk about the church praying and the church, how powerful the church is if they just pray, right? Mm-hmm. And how things move, how God moves, and is still moving currently into this day, and we don't even know about it. And I can't imagine a platoon just praying over promotion and the command leadership. That's wild.
Yeah.
My goodness, how that just, wow. I'm at a loss for. I would love to meet that leadership.
Yeah.
How they got, how they got to that place. That's climate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like who started that? Whose idea was it? How,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, man, that's wild. That's hot. Hey, send me that video. I'm about to reach out and see what's up, man. I would love that. I would love to know what that command climate is like. And obviously that guy had to go somewhere else, right? But if he's going to take that same atmosphere into the new leadership, that's dope. I would love to see
Yeah.
it.
I'll send that to you.
Yeah. Let me talk. Let me just, dog. This is your show, man. What's on your heart? What's on your chest? What's on your mind? Tell me about it. I love the Eagle Gold, the Eagle Globe and Anchor on your chest. I love it. Why you got it on, man? Why you got it on?
Still gotta represent. You know,
Hey, hey,
uh,
hey.
most people that I work with are military, and so that way they understand like, hey, I'm just like you. I was a PFC too. I knew nothing about money too. I knew nothing about life too. I'm no different than anybody else. I just made a different decision. Yeah, I just made a couple different decisions. That was literally it. Obviously there's people that are doing a lot better than me. And I'm always willing to learn to shadow. I've paid more money and like self development, going to seminars, learning from different entrepreneurs than most people probably would. And it's all about that risk. But yeah, I still represent just because that's who I sit down with. So it's just to remind them like, look, I'm no different than you. I just got my DD-214 like 2 months ago. That was it.
That's dope, man. That's good. I'd say the floor is yours, man. What's one thing you want to tell the listeners, or more, or a couple, or what should they do? And you transition well. You're doing well. The floor is yours. Hit it, man. However long.
Yeah, so I mean the biggest thing, especially really in transitioning, because every single person's gonna transition at some point, whether they like it or not. But the biggest thing is, number one, work on yourself, build your skills, build your networking, build your connections, stack your bread, whatever the case is. But then number two is never to listen to somebody that's not where you want to be. And that's one thing that I harp on all the time is never listen to people that aren't where you want to go because they're never gonna get you there. Yes, Sergeant Major can get you to Sergeant Major, but Sergeant Major can't get you to a successful civilian, right? They have the resources,
Ouch.
but
Ouch.
the reality is like they just don't have the experience. They can give you, all the resources. They can help you out. They can assist you. They can do whatever they can. But the reality is they can't make those decisions for you, and they just don't have that experience. And it's nothing bad on them, but they will one day. I watched people retire from the military and spend, months looking for a job, like 6 to 8 months. Like imagine doing 20 years and now it's hard to find a job, and the reality is like I've seen a lot of mass sergeants and sergeant majors retiring, and their whole thing was trying to get people to stay in as much as possible, but then I would talk to them and they're scared to get out. What kind of job am I going to get? Am I going to get paid enough? Like they're genuinely worried about it, or they're like super excited to get out. And I'm like, but you just spent 20 years telling people like they're never going to be successful out. But then at 19 years, that appendix J drops. I had a mass sergeant literally try to convince me for over 2 years to stay in for the pension. I was like, not to be like cocky, but that pension's not even paying my bills. It's like half my bills. Like that pension's nothing. Why would I spend 20 years for a $2,500 paycheck? And that master has never been in the fleet. He's never been in an actual fleet. So you can't really give me, like, you can't help me transition out if you've never done it. And so, I've just seen so many people transition out. One of my mentors in business in 2019, he transitioned out of the Navy, and he was homeless for like a year. Granted, now, like, is making a lot of money. What the commandant makes a year, he makes a month. But 5 years ago he was homeless. You know, I've just seen so much of this where people don't know how to get out. And they just listen to people that have never done it. And the reality is, if I listened to my command, I'd be fucked. That's just the reality. My command was my biggest haters, and so if I listened to people that weren't where I was, like, I would be lost.
That's wild. That's shade for sure. It's a good shade, like accountable shade, like you did somebody wrong, and I'm sure you're doing somebody else wrong and doing not the right thing and right by them, because people are the center of gravity, man. People are the center of gravity. You got to treat others how you want to be treated. It's cliche, but it's facts. It's the golden rule.
What people don't understand, like, and I don't mean it in a bad way, right? Like when people tell you, like, hey, stay in, like it's scary to get out, they're not operating because they don't think you're gonna be successful. Like it's nothing bad on that individual or their Marine or whoever wants to get out. It's just because they are scared to get out, and so they don't want to see you fail too. Like they're just operating out of fear. They're operating out of scarcity. They're not operating out of like ill intentions, or they don't want to see you be successful or anything like that. They just don't know how. I'm sure they've seen a lot of stuff, but since they don't know how, they've never really done it. They don't really know how to actually help you do it. And so, but they do know how to help you stay in. They do know how to help you be a good Marine. And so it's never out of like ill intentions. I don't think, like, yes, like my commando's biggest haters, but it's not that they're like bad people. They just can't help me be a civilian. They could only
True.
help me be a good Marine. And so, like I literally got a text, June 26th, that was like, if you don't run a PFT, you're getting an adverse fit rep. I was like, that's cool. Like I don't, I'm in Cabo.
Wow.
I said, I'm in Cabo and they don't have pull-up bars here. Right. And it's not that like, they just know how to be a Marine. You do a PFT, you do I wait, you do pull-ups, you run, you do your job and you shut up. But like, they don't realize it. That doesn't affect you in the real world. Like that fit rep doesn't matter. Now, no job's going to be like, let me see your fit rep. What were your pros and cons? What was your height and weight? So they know how to help you be a good Marine. They just can't help you be a civilian. So it's never out of ill intentions. It's just, out of ignorance, really.
Damn, that's good. Dang. Hey, if you don't know, now you know with Caden Shanks. Man, I'll tell you what, that's good gouge. If you're just turning in, that's good gouge. That's good gouge. I'll tell you what, Caden, I appreciate you taking the time. I know your time is precious because every minute you're with me, you're not making money, right? But again, thank you. Honor and a privilege to have you on, man. I appreciate you telling your story, and your story is just as important as anybody else's, big or small. So thank you again. Where can they reach you out if they want to know more about you and your business and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Caden_Shanks. That's what I primarily use. Shoot me a message and let's connect.
Hey, if you got any more of that Access backdrop, just send it my way, dog. I'll discounted price.
Sounds good.
For real on the shirt. For real on the shirt. It does nothing with your last name. I already know it's gonna be on the front. I get it. But hey, I'm a walking billboard. I like it.
I'll have to order some more.
My God, you're freaking wrong. You know what you're doing? You're beating around the bush. That's what you're doing, me, Caden.
I only ordered 5 so I could wear one a day. Like that was all.
Give me one and wash one.
Like
That's what you need to do. Give me one and wash one. Stop playing. Stop playing. Anyways, ladies.
I don't know, Vin.
Hey, send me that video. I'll send you my address. Quid pro quo. That's how it works.
Sounds good.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Pit Talk, pulling pits and opinions with your host, Gunny G, where service members help service members, period, past or present. Follow, like, subscribe, everywhere you get your podcast and on all social media platforms. Let us know how we're doing. Any criticism is good criticism. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Gunny G with Caden Shanks, and we out. Dog, the recording has ended.
Podcast featuring active service members who discuss their thoughts and opinions on various issues surrounding military life, current events, and history. The statements heard here are the opinions of its members and guests. These do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense and are not endorsed or sponsored in any way. Listener, viewer discretion advised.